Teasing, joking, playful pokes, it can all be in good fun. But our next guest says those lighthearted lines can land in an unintentional way sometimes. Author Norman Hill says sometimes the silver generation ends up being a target. So he wrote about this in a recent DeseretNews article. Joins us now live. Norman, great to have you on the show here. I know we all love a good laugh, but you're saying sometimes we overdo it. What's the danger there?
Ryan, it can go both ways. Joking can just be fun, or it can be pointed. Sometimes people use as an excuse, well, I was just kidding, as a cover-up for something that's hurtful, implying that you're taking it way too sensitively. On the other hand, joking can be playful banter. It can be a way of having bonding within a family. It doesn't have to always be hurtful. In fact, many times it's very much a way to have a secret coded language among family members or friends or in a work group.
Yeah, there's benefits there. I mean, having that playful relationship just kind of keeps the relationship going well, but I know there's some signs here that it may be hard to understand when you've gone too far. What do you recognize? What do you look for?
I think specifically if there's damage done to someone, sometimes we might use the phrase, I'm bringing the person down a peg, or I'm trying to put a person in their place. And so teasing can go into bullying. And oftentimes we recognize that in children when what started out as just a playful conversation might in fact turn into something that's mean rather than humorous.
Yeah, we've definitely seen this with our kids at home. I know exactly what you're talking about. So it's not just young kids, though. It's people, obviously, in the senior citizens, the silver generation. You notice that those wise in age sometimes get teased about some common things. And you put out a list, actually, of some of the top 10 lists. I want to pull from that and get your insights on some of this. First, driving too slowly.
Yeah, I want to jump in first with the phrase wise with age. That's kind of a euphemism, Brian, as opposed to saying, I know you're old. It's not a dirty word for me. I never thought that I was going to be this old. It's a bonus. So when somebody says, hey, old guy, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's who they're talking about. But driving is one of those things that I think it's an easy stereotype and a complaint, and to some extent it's true. Older people do, in fact, drive more methodically, drive the, if you will, the speed limit as opposed to speeding, and there's positive results from it. If you look statistically at people age 60 to 79, they're the safest drivers on the highway. It's teenagers, of course, who are worse, and young 20-year-olds who are second. So while older people may in fact drive the speed limit, which for many people is driving too slow, it is in fact producing beneficial results. My son likes to say that I drive too slow, and I reply, well, I've never caused an accident. He says, well, how do you know? Have you been able to see the accidents that you weren't part of because you were driving too slow? And I said, I semi-quote Mark Twain, who said, I can't remember things the way that I used to. In fact, sometimes I remember things that didn't happen at all with great clarity. That's true for me as well.
Yeah, now kids call you Unc. That's what they say. I've heard that a time or two. Unc.
Unc or Gramps or Graybeard.
Right.
You know, there's lots of phrases. I don't particularly like old geezer, but sometimes that will happen as well. And I say, yeah, I'm old. I've lived this long, and, you know, good on me. It's extra innings.
Now, I know you've got the list here. I'm just going to give the viewers at home just a recap of what we've got here. Early dinner time, that's a target. Texting with your index fingers, using cursive handwriting, and being overly friendly with strangers. I guess my question here for you is this. If you want to have that playful relationship, and we know kind of some of these target areas, how do you keep it playful? What do you suggest they do instead?
Well, humor is an easy way of being very playful, of having something go back and forth. And anything that's one way or punitive obviously is not playful. But if you can go back and forth with this secret coded language that you have with an insider group. So teasing is best used for people who already know you and who understand that your intentions are good as opposed to a put down. I think that makes a big difference. Sometimes older people are said to not have a filter, and statistically, from a data point of view, it's clear that boomers, my age, have less need to put on airs or to have recognition from other people. In fact, millennials are sometimes called the JK generation, the just joking generation, because millennials more often than not use that phrase in texting, and it's a way of sometimes being a put down, sometimes being light humor, and it depends a lot on if you're talking to friends or people who know you as opposed to somebody that's a stranger.
Well, Norman, you had some great ideas here today. I mean, it's one of those conversations you know is going to happen. We appreciate you kind of helping us kind of navigate it here through us here on the show. Thanks, Norm.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.